Hi everyone, this is Colleen. I wanted to share with you today a garden planning tool, an article that I found that I thought was really helpful. It's semi-technical, but I had a couple ways that I modified how to do it. But I'll put a link in the description. This is the website, and it talks about using Google Maps to plan your garden. Basically goes through the steps pretty well about how you find the satellite map for your particular garden and then how you use one of the Google tools. Now, if you have Gmail, you have a Google Drive and also a YouTube channel and all that other good stuff. And so it talks to you, it kind of talks you through how you take that photo that you found on the Google Maps and you turn it into a map. I did that and ours kind of looks like this. I did a couple of things. First of all, when I took a photo, it only had 3 of the beds that we have so far. So I had to fill in the other beds, but it was easy because these beds are the same size as this bed. And then I have the new beds that are here. We have a bed. I put in a bed that we haven't made yet. And then
Oh, shoot. Okay, yeah,
yet.
we're gonna.
And then I put in the new beds that are over here. These are going to be the tomato plants beds. Now, there's a lot of cool things that you can do. From that article describes how you can make a grid. You can take the photo that you've taken and you can modify the photo. Under format, you can get options for changing the formatting and you can change the transparency. So once you have a photo and you put in the little objects, so you would just go to shape and then select a square and you can put them on here. This does require a little bit of finagling. It's fun to experiment if you've never done this before, but if you just have a little bit of kind of processing these kinds of photos, like Photoshop or whatever, it's not that difficult. It's just squares and circles. But you can also then drop out completely the photo so that it's not there anymore. I left mine in because I actually printed it out. But you can also like rotate it around. So you can use this little thing right here and you can select all and then everything gets rotated. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun. But at some point, then I got a little frustrated and I couldn't make it print out with just the parts that I wanted to see. I only wanted to see the yard. I didn't want to have to see everything. I ended up using you can screenshot a certain part of your screen. I've got a Mac, so this mine looks like this, but you can go here and then you can just take a photo of that. And so then I ended up just putting it onto a regular Microsoft Word document. And then from there, you can also just take pictures of certain parts. So there's the whole capture. So now that's a screenshot on my computer. And then here I can do it again. If I just wanted this part here from right about here. Ooh, oops. And you just go back to undo. Voila. And I just wanted this little part. So I took a picture just of this part of the photo, again transferred it over to a Microsoft Word, and then I had a full-size sheet that I could print out. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but so I printed out the whole yard, and then I printed out the different areas. So those are the main beds, and then over here are the side beds. And you can see that Jason has started to name the beds. This is the B&V plot of heaven. Those are the tomatoes. And then over here we've got a king carrot, which we haven't made yet, but there's a little garden bed for the carrots. So Jason's going to try to grow some carrots and parsnips, fingers crossed. So
It's not science. That's just wizardry. Okay.
fingers
Cool. So there's
So we're just trying to figure out the other names of the other beds. I don't know how much more creative we can get, and it doesn't matter to me, but it's still funny. As you can see, or maybe not, I did actually start filling in what we want on the different plots. So what are we going to grow here, here, and here, and etc. And I very quickly kind of got overwhelmed thinking about succession planting, having things cropping all the time, being able to grow food. Our main goal this year is to actually grow something to eat. And so when I started feeling overwhelmed, I realized that I needed to stop what I was doing and go do something a little bit differently. One of the things that my husband bought me for Christmas was the Charles Dowding Vegetable Garden Calendar. This is a really cool calendar. By the way, there's no affiliations at all. Ever. But it's kind of a cool calendar for us because we're in the same growing zone. We're a 9A. I think he's a 9B or 9A. And he includes some of the dates that he suggests that you plant things. And he talks about succession sowing and things like that. So I took the calendar and I took my box of seeds and I went through each seed packet and looked at what it said regarding the normal planting times for that particular seed. So for example, this week is January, and this week will be 9 weeks until our normal last frost. Our last frost is usually in March, mid-March. So this week we should be planting, from my box, Cineraria flowers, stalks, heliotrope, artichokes, and peppers. On my calendar, it says peppers first, because we're going to do 2 sowings of peppers. How many peppers? Like 2. So I'm going to plant 2 pepper plants this week, and then 2 pepper plants next week, just so that we can start to, like this week might be a little bit too early. If I plant it next week, the week after, it might work better. So I went through each of those seeds that I have in my box, and I planted, and I put all of those notes in the calendar. I just felt like I didn't have a place where I just had one reference point that we could all look at and everyone would be clear on what to do. So this was my second step. So far I've done 2 steps. I have this. Now I could have just gone ahead and gone outside with a tape measure and done this. I know that. But the tape measure is broken or cracked at the 10-foot mark. So it works really well to measure out things in the plot, because each individual plot, because it doesn't get over 10 feet. But to measure out all these different parts of the yard and how far away and the fence and all that stuff. So I found this to be much easier, and then I already had all the information and all the dimensions. I like to have accurate pictorial representations of what I'm doing when I plan out something like this. So I found it very helpful. I've done that part. I've done the part where I go through the seeds that I have. I realized that I'm missing sunflowers and something else. Jason and I were talking about it yesterday. I forget. I don't know about the sunflowers. The birds might have spread enough seeds that we'll get some volunteers. I might wait and see if we get some volunteer sunflowers, and then I won't buy any. But the next thing I'll do is go through the seeds and figure out if any of those seeds can have kind of alternative dates. Can I use them in the winter? Can I plant them? How many times can I plant them? And start noting those things on the calendar so that every week we have different things that we need to do. If we can do even half of the things that we have on this calendar this year, I think that would be a real victory.
And hopefully,
Just curious.
hopefully it works. It might be genius. It might be a disaster. But I tried. And I'm not scared because I know my wife will forgive me. Just keep trying.
Just curious what you're doing to plan out your garden, to plan out your seeds. Everyone seems to have a lot of seeds going on this year, and I just wondered what you might be doing with your seeds. If you have any other suggestions or you had anything else to share with people, go ahead and put it in the comments. And I hope you all are having a great beginning of the new year.